Welcome to the Sisterhood of Healing podcast, the podcast that wants to help you reach your best and most divine potential. Each week, we dive into topics concerning inner healing, wellness, and spirituality. We discuss strategies and practice from our own personal experiences regarding higher energies, trauma, and connecting to the divine as we take you through our own personal journeys to discover the highest versions of ourselves. In combination with guest speakers, we bring you a comprehensive guide to mental and spiritual wellness and the ability to connect to yourself and the world around you on a deeper level. I'm Nicole, and I'm Christina, and we are two sisters who want to take you along on our spiritual and healing journey. We are each on our own individual healing and spiritual path and bring unique perspectives regarding yoga, chakra healing, meditation, intuition, and trauma healing. Sometimes life is messy, sometimes it's confusing, and sometimes everything falls perfectly into place. Join us as we navigate the path to divine enlightenment together. Welcome to all our sisters, our brothers, and our non-binary friends.
Welcome to episode 3, which is our New Year's episode, where we'll be discussing gratitude and intention setting. So an overview of some things that we're going to discuss today is what is gratitude? Why is it important to practice gratitude? And we'll discuss what we're both grateful for in closing 2021. And we're going to discuss how we can practice gratitude. And we will also be discussing our intentions for 2022.
Yeah, and we thought this would be the perfect episode to end off the year. This is one of my favorite times of year because you can just feel the change in the electricity in the air. It's such a time of movement and opportunity. But I think it's also important to kind of look back, like take a stop and take a look back at where you came from and where you were throughout the year. And that's kind of where the gratitude portion comes in, and then intention setting for the year ahead. And particularly, we didn't want to talk about New Year's resolutions, and we'll talk a little bit about why, but specifically being intentional with ourselves and intentional moving into the coming year. So we thought that those two things are very important and a great way to end the year and head into the new year. So let's get started.
So first and foremost, what is gratitude? So gratitude means being thankful to someone or for something. So there's two different types of gratitude. There's inner gratitude and outer gratitude. Inner gratitude is acknowledging the goodness in life and embracing it. So we can look at the things and circumstances which make our life what it is, give it meaning, and make it rich and full.
And these
then there's
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
These can be like little or big things, whether it's inner or outer gratitude, little or big things. So I think that's important. They don't have to be these grand things that happened throughout the year. It can be as simple as I got up when my alarm went off this morning, and I'm grateful for that extra 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll discuss that further throughout the episode. So the second type is outer gratitude. So recognizing that some sources of gratitude are outside of us. So we can understand that others have caused us happiness and express gratitude to people, animals, or the world for doing something good for us or to us. So outer gratitude means going beyond recognizing what's good in our lives, but also acknowledging who caused it and what it took them to do it for us.
And I think that's so important too, because it really links you to things outside yourself. It connects you to the energies, the beings, the greater universe beyond you. And it helps to make you grateful for all of that, which is outside of you, right? And I think that's so important to recognize, to live a life that is, it's important to live a life where you're, focused on yourself and you're intentionally focused on yourself. But also to understand that we are all connected. And I think that outer gratitude helps you to do that, which is really, really important and really humbling as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely makes us more thankful for the things that we have.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, I mean, traditionally in our society, we pause once a year at Thanksgiving to say what we're thankful for, and you might sit around the table with your family and list the things that you're grateful for, or perhaps if you pray every night before dinner. I mean, we never did as kids, but I had friends who did, and they listed things that they were thankful for, like they took that time. But I don't know if it's really a thing that we take the time to do as often as we should. And I think if we did stop to take a look at, those big and those small things, we would realize how full of abundance our lives really are.
Mm-hmm. And well, I think we live in a society that's just fast paced, and we don't have the time to stop and reflect as we should.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last 2 years have shown us that we should probably take the time to stop and be thankful for even the tiniest things that we have in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Not take those things for granted.
Yes. And it really is so easy to do. You don't even have to stop to take a lot of time out of your day to be grateful.
No, you're right. So why is it important to practice gratitude?
Okay, so let's talk about some things.
So we have negative versus positive thoughts and energy. So you become those things. You become those thoughts. Those thoughts become your energy.
Yes, and if you've ever heard of the saying, thoughts become words.
Yes.
Thoughts become words, become energy, which is
very,
very, very true.
Positive thoughts that you have, the more grateful that you'll start to become for the little things in your life.
Do you have an example of a thought, perhaps like a recurring negative thought you used to have, and when you realized that it was a negative thought and you decided to turn it into a positive one?
Yeah, like, why are things happening to me? And then I started changing my mindset, like things are happening for me.
Yes. Oh, wow.
And
yeah,
it started to make me feel more grateful for the situation that I'm in, because it's not me looking at it in a negative way. It's me taking the situation and being like, okay, like, what can I learn from this? How is this improving my life? How is this improving my character? How is it making me a stronger person?
And there really is something to take out of everything. And I've had that conversation with a lot of different people. It's happening for you, not to you. And people say, yeah, well, what about if you get cancer? Or what about if this terrible thing happened? Yeah, those are terrible things in the moment, but there is always something positive to take out of every single situation. So yeah,
definitely. So with that being said, practicing gratitude helps you develop self-love.
Just so important to love yourself. And self-love is not coming from a place of, and we're going to talk about this a little more in the new year, but it's not coming from a place of arrogance. Self-love really is learning to appreciate, have gratitude for your gifts, for the people around you, for what you've been given. And it really does humble you. Like when you appreciate the things big and small, when you appreciate the people around you, wherever they came from, or whatever little joys they bring to your life, or big joys that they bring to your life, it really helps you to be humble and develop that sort of self-love where you're just really appreciating what you have, and you're appreciating yourself and what you give to the world and what people give you. So self-love is such a big one. So important.
Yes. Yes.
Love it.
Gratitude can shift your focus. So again, we've already kind of touched on this, but it helps you to look at the big picture and everything that's gone right. So we did mention like focusing on the little things, but also when something happens, quote unquote, to you, look at the big picture, right? Look at all the fantastic things that are happening for you.
I know, like for me, one of the biggest things that I've been struggling with, without going into too much detail, is just like being in the house that I'm in now, which had things gone differently wouldn't have been my initial choice. However, and I tell these people this, my neighbors, I love them. Like they are like my second parents. Their daughter is one of my best friends. I would not have met them had I not moved here. If I was not living here right now, probably wouldn't be as close with them had the pandemic not happened. And I tell them all the time, that's the reason I'm happy I'm here, because I'm so grateful to have them in my life, because they're such incredible people, like just beautiful souls, and I wouldn't have known them otherwise. So they came out of something that was initially bringing stress and grief to my life. So yeah.
Yep. Way to look on the positive side.
Yeah. And our relationships are so important. I mean, they carry you through life, and your friends and your family support you. So
yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely thankful for those guys. So practicing gratitude.
Thanks when you practice gratitude.
Sorry?
It becomes easier for you to show appreciation for things when you practice gratitude.
Yeah, it really does. And I think like showing appreciation for people, like for people to stop and say, that made me happy when you did that, or I appreciate having you in my life. And Nicole, I've told you this, but the people I work with, I appreciate them so much. They have become my family. Like I've been with them for the last 6 years, and we honestly tell each other all the time how we could not get through the day if we didn't have each other to lean on and to have that support. So it's just so important. It's so special to appreciate people and to tell them. And because you never know, like that might be the nicest thing that person's heard that day, or they might have needed to hear that. They might not have known the impact that they were making on your life. And then that kind of reverberates and makes a positive impact on them. Right. So practicing gratitude just has this amazing kind of like sonic boom effect, which is really neat.
Chain reaction.
Yeah.
The domino effect.
Yeah.
Yep. So another important reason to practice gratitude is if you practice gratitude, you'll find more peace. Therefore, you'll experience less fear.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of worrying about fear and how successful you might be, think of how far you've come, how much you've learned, and all the hard work that you've done.
And I think
so you'll be more calm and confident in your situation and less fearful of things.
Yes, and fear is a big one. So many people I know live their lives by fear. Like, I have to do this. What if I don't do this? The what ifs are so big, or the can'ts and the what ifs are so big, and they're so limiting.
Yep.
And in doing a lot of the like spiritual journey work on my own, realizing like I always promised myself I wouldn't live a life in fear, because I feel like that's debilitating. So I've tried to do things outside of my comfort zone, or things that are scary, probably since I realized this, since I was like 13, 14, 15, I've tried to do this. But then like going through this journey, I've realized how subconscious some fears are. Like even taking the step to do this podcast, thinking like, oh, it's going to be hard to get followers, or, oh, we're going to have to, be married to social media and it's going to be such a pain. Like, oh, but like those are fears, like having those fears that this is going to become your lifestyle, or that things are going to change negatively. And you kind of have to like just get over that. So yeah, living in fear. Did you ever live in fear? Like what were some things that you lived in fear about?
Yeah, I lived in fear for everything. I feel like we grew up like taught fear. Like, don't jump on a trampoline, you're gonna snap your neck.
Yeah, there was a lot of things.
We were taught
told to snap our necks.
We were taught like the worst outcome, like the worst possible outcome. And like, yeah, that's all about a mindset. We weren't taught to have positive mindset. Like we really did train ourselves out of negativity.
Yeah, fear keeps you safe. That's kind of what we were taught. Yeah.
Yep.
And I realized that's why I said, like, I realized early on, because I saw what it did to the people closest to me, and I realized I didn't want to live such a limiting life.
No.
But then in some ways, it was, the fear of not succeeding was always there.
Yeah, and like, why is that so scary? Like, who actually cares if you don't succeed in your goal?
Yeah. Then you learn. Yeah, no one cares but you.
No one cares.
So
I don't know if that's discomforting or more comforting, but like everyone is so self-consumed in what they're doing for themselves that like no one is, well, hopefully no one's like banking on your failures.
No. And if they are, you don't need those people in your life. And you can be grateful that they taught you that lesson, that you need to be more grateful. Be more grateful than what they're showing you or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think having gratitude has developed your faith?
Faith, religious faith or spiritual faith?
Spiritual faith, yes.
Yes. Oh, geez, yes. Definitely my spiritual faith. It's hard though. It's hard. Because I think that goes with the idea of trusting the process and trusting the universe. And you have to have faith in that. And that means you have to relinquish control. And like you and I are both pretty A-type, which means we're on the ball. Like we're usually in control of situations as much as we can dictate. And so to let go and let be was definitely really hard. And I think that's probably my biggest struggle right now, is just trusting the process and trusting the universe. And that's one thing that I'm constantly telling myself, like, just trust the universe, put your faith in this, like it'll all happen the way that you want it to. And if it doesn't, it's going to happen even better. And it sounds like, honestly, it sounds so silly, but I think I'm in the middle of, or I'm in the aftermath of things falling apart. And at first that was like a hope that kept me going, like, no, it's got to be better than this. It's got to be better. And now I'm truly starting to believe that better things are going to come together. So, being thankful for like the little things, like I'm healthy. I have food in my fridge. I'm getting up. I'm going to a job that I love. Is it stressful some days? Sure. But I love it. And I love the people I work with. And, every little day is one amazing little day in my story. And if it's stressful or if I'm tired, that's part of it. But there's something bigger coming, and you can kind of like feel that building as long as you keep the faith. And appreciating all those little things. And I actually heard something recently where, or maybe might have even been something on social media, where it said, don't wait for the big things to happen to start appreciating things and showing gratitude. And I was like, wow, yeah, because there's a lot of people that will just wait until these big things happen, and like, I'll be happy when this happens, or I will appreciate if this happens. But it's really the little things, because it really does shift your mindset. Like it shifts your mindset incredibly. And I've had people always say to me, like, how are you so positive? I'm like, I don't know. Like, what am I going to do? Like, these are the cards I've been dealt. Like, this is my life, and I'm not doing too bad. Like, I've got people that love me. I go to my job every day that I love. I come home to my cat, who's like a dog. She's the best. So, I mean, there's so many good things.
Yep. No, I feel the same way. And you've heard this story a million times, but, having to reschedule our wedding 5 different times because of the pandemic. And it was obviously like absolutely crushing having to do that and having to go through the emotional roller coaster. But in closing last year, I realized that it was all happening for me, because if I had gotten married the first time, then I wouldn't have had all of these opportunities that were provided for me in 2020. And honestly, we probably wouldn't even be here right now doing this. So I am forever grateful for it. And throughout, almost these last 2 years, up until we finally got married last month, people kept asking me, how are you so positive? And it's literally something that was out of my control. So how can I dwell on it and be so upset over it when like there's nothing I can do?
And I think that's,
I really just need to get it out.
That's what, like it's beyond your control. And I noticed that, and I learned this lesson probably 10 years ago, that I can't control everything. And to understand that some things are just beyond my control, and that's the way it is, and I have to roll with it, relieved me of so much stress. and completely changed my mindset. But I find that there's a great need amongst people to control the uncontrollable, and it just causes more worry and more stress. So yeah, you just need to sometimes let live and let be and just trust the process. And have faith.
So hard to do.
Yeah. But I was actually thinking of that the other day. Had the pandemic not happened, you would have been married earlier. And had I still been married, we wouldn't have been doing this podcast right now. Like, we would have been on totally different journeys.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done my yoga teacher training. I probably wouldn't have my full-time job that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life would be so different. And honestly, I wouldn't have the gratitude that I have today. Like, it's really, like, having gone through a situation like that really helped develop my character in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I'm going to toot our own horn here for a second, but I feel like we were raised to have good morals, good values, and good character, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like that subconscious character, I think, that we wouldn't have had this happened. Like, it's the whole mindset shift, which is crazy.
And that's not like us saying like the pandemic was great.
No, it sucked.
Because it wasn't great for so many people in so many ways.
It sucked.
Yeah, it really sucked, and it still sucks.
Yeah.
But having that time and having things happen for us has been really good.
Yeah, and that's a whole mindset shift in itself, right? That's a whole gratitude, like realizing, the pandemic sucked. Like, people got sick. We didn't get to see our friends. Like, we didn't get to spend holiday. Like, it sucked. There's no more educational adjective to use than it sucked. But look at what came out of it for us. Anyways. Like, look at what came out of the struggle and the hardship. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yep. So having gratitude improves your relationships. Mm-hmm. So when you're happier, you're more positive. You have a better vibe around you, and people are like drawn to you because you're more enjoyable to be around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think I just want to say something here, like a side note. It does improve your relationships. You are more positive. That doesn't mean that, and I've heard this term a lot in the last couple months, toxic positivity. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you're unrealistic in your positivity or in your outlook or in your gratitude. It just means that you're making a conscious choice to see what's happening for you in this, or how you can make a positive impact on this, on whatever situation it is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you
touched on like the last point that we have for it, but gratitude helps develop your personality. So it'll bring out the best in you if you keep on thinking positive thoughts.
It will. And I always think of my yoga teacher, and she is just a ray of sunshine. Like, I don't have enough good things to say about her. She just exudes this positive and this tenacious and like vivacious energy just for life, for what she does. And like, I want to be a better person because of her. Like, she's just amazing. Like, she's just so nice. So yes, 100% it does.
Yeah, she does sound pretty amazing.
I just love her. She's so cute. Hi, Marlene. I don't know if she listens, but hi, Marlene.
Sounds like she can pivot in the worst of situations.
Honestly, and I know she's, COVID shut down her studio, and she's had her own experiences this year with COVID. But she's just been so resilient, like absolutely resilient. And I know we all appreciate her for that. So. Yeah.
So what are you grateful for in closing this year, 2021?
Oh my gosh, I'm grateful for so much. I'm grateful for this present moment, like sitting here talking with you. I feel like the podcast and going on our journeys, our spiritual journeys alongside each other, not together because we're on different journeys, but alongside each other, it's brought us closer in a different way. I don't know. And I just appreciate that so much. I think it's so beautiful. I do. I just think it's so beautiful.
It has been nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's been nice, like, working on a project together. Like you had mentioned the other day, like, we've never worked together like this.
No. And I always hear people talk about you and say, like, how great a worker and coworker and whatnot you are. And I obviously believe it because I know what kind of person you are. But to actually work with you, it's a learning experience. It's inspiring. It's like it's all those things that you would hope that working with your sibling would be.
Yeah.
So it's been really
yeah,
nice.
I feel this. I feel the same in terms of personal growth. Like I feel like we've both really grown a lot this year, and I feel like our confidence has developed more, and we've become more risk takers. Like a year ago, whatever, we would not have been doing this. I feel like I would have been like just holding myself back, and I wouldn't have had that confidence in myself to move forward with this project.
Yeah, I think developing those different types of confidence, because I mean, I know both of us, we can speak in front of people, we can do, when it comes to our jobs, we can get stuff done and we do things in that regard. But I think, especially with the social media, that's a
So
realm. Yeah, it's so intimidating. And that's a realm that it's almost, I don't know what word I don't want to use the word like embarrassing, but I'm almost like shy with that still.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that I'm comfortable in yet, but I know it's part of all of this, like it's necessary. So stepping into that, overcoming that fear, stepping into
and
that.
Overcoming like the vulnerability.
That's the word I'm looking for, the vulnerability. It's just such a vulnerable place to be. Like you're putting yourself out there for the entire world to see. And I mean, with the podcast, we want to help as many people as we can, but social media is a whole other animal. It's really scary. It's really scary.
Yeah, you're not like just hiding behind a screen. Like it's still really intimidating.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
But we're going to work on
that. But yeah, there's been a lot of personal growth this year. And I think that's the thing that I'm most thankful for. I mean, if I look at myself last year at this time, I was a broken mess. And just, going through that, like self-love, the self-healing, the spiritual, like whatever the journey that I was on, like going through that, I'm not the same person that I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, and definitely not 10 years ago. So it's just, I'm like, I just, wow, like, whoa. I think the personal growth. Yeah.
yeah. Whoa.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's okay.
So, with that being said, I think some of the intentions that we're setting for next year is, well, developing our business and really believing in ourselves and not feeling the imposter syndrome that you and I have talked about so much.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, is the imposter syndrome. But and again, like positive affirmations, being grateful for what we have, where we are, and just like believing in ourselves, knowing we can do it. So yeah, so our intentions, big and small, I would say developing our business is a big one. If we're looking at small intentions, continuing to set boundaries, learning to say no, which is something I know we've both been working on all year.
Yeah. And I really want to have a productive morning routine, which includes meditating and breath work, and like having myself put together before I log on to my computer in the morning.
Yes.
So hard. Sounds like something so simple. How did I function when I drove into an office? I don't know. But
I know.
It's like those small things that are really going to help me set myself up and feel more productive during the day.
I definitely think that. I know a lot of my self-care routines happen at night. Like my meditation happens at night, my journaling happens at night. But I do want to work something into my morning as well, just so I'm not getting out of bed, getting ready, and constantly thinking about work, like to put myself in a greater mindset. So I think practicing gratitude in the mornings
Yes.
Is going to be a lot more important for me. And I've already started it. I have a little whiteboard in my room, and I write my positive affirmations on there. So it's literally the first thing I see in the morning when I wake up.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's such a good tool.
I love those whiteboards. Dollar store, man. Dollar store. Go to the dollar store, get yourself a whiteboard. They're incredible.
Yeah. Okay, so why are we setting intentions versus New Year's resolutions?
So I think New Year's resolutions, like that phrase is just so tainted with pressure. Like there's just so much pressure associated with New Year's resolutions. And we're going to talk about goal setting and manifestation a little bit in the new year. So we've got that coming up, which is really, we're looking forward to. But yeah, so not putting that pressure on yourself and setting intentions. And when we talk about manifestation later, it's more about like the feeling that you want to have. Like you can set a goal, but often when you set goals, it's so daunting. So to kind of set yourself up for the feeling that you want to have and practice feeling that thing over and over again. And then, I don't know, what are you thinking? Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think we need to have realistic and digestible goals.
Yeah. So make sure that we're always maintaining our positive affirmations as opposed to our negative ones.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, New Year's resolutions never actually seem to stick, I guess, for myself. But what is helpful to do is manifesting your goals from the inside out. So it starts with changing your mindset. So being positive about the things that you have intended to do, just changing your focus on it. And when you change your focus from within, you will execute that on the outside.
And building up that like love for that, like those things within, like
it's like doing things like for yourself because you love yourself.
Yeah.
Setting those goals for yourself out of love.
Yeah, exactly. And removing the pressure. Like pressure is such a negative thing. Like removing the pressure of I have to do this and I have to do this, do that. So yeah, setting those small intentions can go a long way, and just continuing to build on them throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that's our last episode.
Yeah, that's our last
of the year
episode of 2021.
Yeah.
So
we are going to be back next week though with episode 4 of this season. So it's not our last episode ever, just of 2021. And we'll see you in 2022 with our first guest.
Yay! We have some very exciting guests that are lined up for you guys, and honestly, we're just so excited to hit the ground running with this. And we're looking forward to seeing where this podcast takes us.
Yeah. So tell all your friends about it. Tell your moms. Our moms are greatest supporter.
Yes, spread the word. We're so thankful for our listeners, and please reach out to us if you have any questions or comments, if you have any suggestions of topics that you would like to hear on the podcast. You can find us on Instagram at sisterhood_of_healing. We would love to hear from you.
DM us anytime. Thanks, sisters.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, sisters. Bye.
That's it for our show today. Thanks for joining. Remember, you can always reach out to us on our socials, on Instagram at sisterhood_of_healing, or on TikTok at Sisterhood of Healing. We love to hear from you, so please reach out to us at any time. Thank you for journeying with us today. We'll see you next time.